I swear, some moments stay with you forever. Not because they were beautiful, but because they broke something inside you. For me, it was a simple evening, a family dinner that should have felt warm, normal, loving. But instead, it became the moment I realized I didn't belong in my own home. I walked into the living room holding my small plate of food, and the first thing I heard was laughter. Not soft, casual laughter, but the kind that fills a room, the kind that comes from joy, pride, excitement. And none of it was for me. My parents were sitting on the couch, faces glowing, leaning close to my cousin Daniel as if he were the sun and they were trying to stay warm. My father clapped Daniel on the back. My mother smiled like she had been waiting her whole life for this moment. They didn't even notice I had entered. They didn't even look up. I stood there, holding my plate, invisible, just invisible. Then I heard my father say, "Daniel, you're the future of this family. We are so proud of you." The words hit me harder than any slap ever could. I wasn't jealous. I wasn't angry. I wasn't even surprised. I was numb. At that moment, something inside me quietly cracked, and I knew the truth I'd been avoiding for years. In their story, I was just a background character. And that night, I made a silent promise to myself. One day, they would finally see me. But by the time they did, it would already be too late. Growing up, I learned early that love wasn't equal in my house. It was conditional, measured, distributed based on achievement, status, and money. And nobody had more of that than my cousin Daniel. He lived in a different world. Private schools, branded clothes, vacations abroad. He walked with the confidence of someone who never heard the word no. But what hurt wasn't his privilege, it was the way my parents looked at him. Like he was the son they always wanted, and I was the one they were stuck with. Every time I brought home good grades, they said, "That's fine, but Daniel got higher." Every time I won something, they replied, "Daniel won bigger." Every time I tried to talk about my dreams, they told me, "Ask Daniel for advice. He knows more." I tried to ignore it, tried to tell myself it was all in my head. But it wasn't. The difference was real. When Daniel visited, the house became a celebration. Special dinners, special conversations, special attention. But when it was just me, I was the quiet helper, the reliable backup, the extra pair of hands. Not a son, not someone to be proud of, just someone there. Still, somewhere inside me, I kept a small hope that one day they'd notice my effort. That one day they'd care. But life had a cruel way of showing me how wrong I was. It happened on a morning that should have been the biggest day of my life. For months, I had been preparing for a business scholarship, the kind that could change everything for me. Late nights, early mornings, countless drafts, countless sacrifices. I wasn't doing it for praise. I wasn't doing it for my parents' approval. I was doing it because I wanted a future, a life where I didn't feel small anymore. The final interview was scheduled for Monday at 10 in the morning. I marked it on every calendar I owned. But on the night before the interview, my cousin Daniel came to stay with us just for the weekend. I didn't think much of it. I stayed in my room, rehearsing my presentation. The next morning, I woke up early, got dressed, and left home with confidence I hadn't felt in years. When I reached the office building, the receptionist gave me a confused look. "Oh, your cousin already came in. You're late." I blinked. "My cousin?" "Yes," she said. "Daniel showed up for the interview this morning. Your parents confirmed the schedule change with him." My heart dropped straight into my stomach. I rushed outside, dialing my parents again and again. No answer. When I reached home, breathless and shaking, I found them in the living room, laughing, celebrating, clinking glasses. My mom said proudly, "Daniel got the scholarship. Isn't that amazing?" I felt the air leave my lungs. "That was my application," I whispered. My father barely looked at me. "Daniel is better suited for these things. Don't take it personally. Don't take it personally." That was the moment I understood. I wasn't just the forgotten son. I was the unwanted one. And something inside me shut down completely. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I didn't argue. I just stood there in the doorway, watching them celebrate my cousin's success, a success built on my efforts, my dreams, my interview slot. And none of them felt even a drop of guilt. Daniel raised his glass, smiling proudly, as if he hadn't just stolen my future with a fake smile and a handshake. My mother fussed over him, saying things she had never said to me, not even once. "You deserve this, Daniel. You're our pride." Our pride, not her pride. Their pride. I realized that I could spend my whole life trying to make them proud and still never be good enough. So I turned around, walked quietly to my room, closed the door. No one followed. No one knocked. No one wondered why I had suddenly disappeared from the celebration. As I packed my bag, just a few clothes, my laptop, and some savings, I felt strangely calm. This wasn't anger, it was clarity. Before leaving, I stood for a moment at the front door. I waited, just to see if anyone would ask where I was going. They didn't even glance in my direction. I stepped outside into the cold night air, and with every step away from that house, I felt something heavy falling off my shoulders. They had made their choice, and now I was making mine. Leaving home felt like falling off a cliff, but hitting the ground taught me how to stand again. The first few weeks were rough. I slept on a friend's couch, worked overtime shifts, and saved every dollar I could. While other people my age were going to parties, I was watching free online courses late into the night. While Daniel lived off comfort and connections, I lived off determination and instant noodles. But pain can be a powerful teacher. Step by step, I rebuilt myself. I learned online business skills, marketing, design, freelancing. I took every job I could get, even the ones no one wanted. Slowly, things began to change. One client recommended me to another, then another. My tiny freelance gigs turned into steady projects. My projects turned into contracts. My contracts turned into a real business. Within 2 years, I moved into my own apartment, small but bright and free of judgment. I bought my first laptop, then my first desk. Then I opened a small office. Every step forward felt like a quiet victory, not against my parents, but for myself. For the boy who once stood invisible in his own home. I didn't want revenge, not then. I just wanted a life where I didn't feel small. And for the first time ever, I felt like I belonged somewhere. It happened almost 3 years after I left. Life was steady for me. My business was growing, clients were loyal, and every morning I woke with a sense of purpose I had never felt in that old house. Then one afternoon, my phone rang. The number was familiar, too familiar. My mother. I stared at the screen for a few seconds, wondering if I should even answer. But something inside me whispered, "Pick up." When I did, her voice shook. "Honey, can you come home? We need you." Need me. 2 words I had never heard from them before. When I arrived, the air in the house felt different. There was no laughter, no excitement, no celebration, just fear. Daniel was there too, but the confident, untouchable cousin I once knew was gone. He looked exhausted, eyes sunken, hands shaking. My father cleared his throat, as if forcing the words out physically hurt him. Daniel made some financial mistakes. Mistakes, that was their word. But the truth was harsher. His business had collapsed. He had borrowed more money than he could repay. Creditors were calling day and night. And the savings my parents had spent years bragging about were gone. Completely gone. My mother wiped her tears. "Honey, we don't know what to do." And then she said it. "Can you help us?" For a moment, I just stood there. The boy they ignored, the son they dismissed, the one who never mattered was now their last hope. A part of me felt satisfaction. Another part felt something painful. Because deep inside, I realized something. They didn't miss me. They missed what I had built. I sat down across from them, hands clasped, heart steady. For years, I dreamed of this moment. Not to hurt them, not to win, but to finally understand why I was never enough. My father looked at me with tired eyes. My mother kept wringing her hands. Daniel stared at the floor like a guilty child. I took a slow breath. "Tell me everything," I said. And they did. More debt than I imagined. Loans taken in Daniel's name, their name, even relatives' names. Money spent on show, status, image, but never on stability. They confessed how every decision was based on looking successful, not being successful. And then the truth slipped out. My father exhaled deeply. "We thought Daniel would lift this family. We expected him to take care of us." I raised an eyebrow. "And me?" My mother's voice cracked. "You were independent. Hardworking. You never asked us for anything. We thought you didn't need us." That sentence hit harder than the betrayal. I didn't need them. I needed them more than they ever realized. But the painful irony was this. They pushed me aside because I was strong. They clung to Daniel because he was comfortable. I leaned back, letting their words sink into the silence. Then I spoke quietly, the way truth sounds when it finally surfaces. You didn't lose your money because Daniel failed. You lost it because you invested in the wrong person and ignored the one who was right in front of you. My father looked down. My mother nodded through tears. And for the first time in my life, they had no defense. Silence filled the room after my words. Heavy, uncomfortable, true. They waited for me to explode, to yell, to throw their mistakes in their faces. But I didn't. Instead, I asked one simple question. What do you want from me? My father sighed. Help us fix this. You're successful now. You know business. Maybe you can save what's left. Save them. The same people who once told me I would never amount to anything now sat across from me, pleading for the son they never chose. I looked at Daniel. For the first time, his confidence was gone. His voice was barely a whisper. I didn't mean to ruin things, he said. I just thought everything would work out like it always did. There it was, the truth about all of them. They had lived their whole lives believing that someone else, family, money, luck, would always rescue them. But not this time. I stood up slowly. I'll help, I said. Their faces lit up instantly, relief rushing in like a wave, but not with money. The relief disappeared. I continued, if I rebuild anything for this family, it will be through effort, discipline, and transparency. Not through shortcuts, not through favoritism. And definitely not through pretending someone is capable when they aren't. My father opened his mouth, but I raised a hand. This time, we start over, the right way. They looked stunned, confused, but deep down, they knew I was right. It wasn't revenge with anger. It was revenge with power, the kind that forces people to face the truth they spent years avoiding. And now they had no choice but to change. Looking back, I realize now that this story isn't just about me, my parents, or my cousin Daniel. It's about choices. Choices we make and the consequences we never see coming. My parents chose comfort over effort. They chose the golden boy, the easy path, the shiny surface. And in doing so, they overlooked the one who truly deserved their attention and belief. I chose a different path. I chose struggle. I chose independence. One chose myself. And that choice didn't just give me success. It gave me power. The power to rise above their mistakes. To teach them what they never understood. And to show that love and pride aren't given, they're earned. The bitter truth. Sometimes the people who should lift you up are the ones who push you down. Sometimes the ones we love most fail to see our worth. But life doesn't reward resentment. It rewards action. It rewards perseverance. It rewards those who believe in themselves when nobody else does. So, if there's one lesson in this story, it's this. Don't wait for anyone to choose you. Don't wait for anyone to see your value. Build yourself. Rise on your own. And when they finally see you, make sure you're unstoppable. Because respect, recognition, and true success aren't given, they're taken. And no one can take them from you, unless you let them.